It's almost like where they go is just following the intensity of the lyrical messaging. It has that sort of spontaneity about it musically. Welcome back to Lowen University. I think after reading even a little bit about Black Flag, I'm now positive that many of you are scratching your heads wondering how I haven't covered them yet or what's taken me so long, considering they're widely regarded as the first hardcore punk band and one of the pioneers of post-hardcore, forming back in frickin' 1976. Dang, I really hadn't found a band that outdated Descendants, but I guess today's the day. It's worth mentioning that I first heard the name Black Flag about 5 or 6 years ago from my friend Mallory, who is like a walking encyclopedia for all things heavy metal and punk rock. And she actually fronts a killer hardcore punk band herself. Go give them some love. Check them out. They're called Hag. Anyway, she was always wearing Black Flag t-shirts when we first met and were bartending together about 5 or 6 years ago, and at the time I thought Black Flag might be some new band. It's very possible she showed me a song or two, who knows, I wouldn't remember by this point. But however, she has told me multiple times to do the band on the channel and to hear the work of bassist Kira Rossler, who was in the group for just like 2 years. I mean, looks like almost everyone was in and out, quite the revolving door. But I digress. Today I'm hearing their song Drinking and Driving, which is from the band's 6th studio album In My Head, released in 1985, and was the last album before the band broke up just 1 year later. And although I've covered a few bands on the hardcore punk side of things, I know I'm still very much scratching the surface on that particular branch of the punk rock tree. So without further ado, it's my first time to hear Black Flag today with their song Drinking and Driving. The production really pulls this away from being like a harder edged thing. I mean, production has a lot to do with it. Now, this was the 80s, but it still has this kind of nimble bass tone, even guitar tone. It clearly has overdrive, distortion, whatever, but it's not like crunchy. It almost gives me like Dead Kennedys vibes. And not here to compare bands, but I made the same observation about them based on their production, just being a little more, vintage isn't the right word, just a little bit more raw. And it gives it a softness that kind of lets the edginess of maybe hardcore punk come through in the subject matter. We're talking about drinking and driving here. It's drink, 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 don't think, drink, drink, don't think. But the note choices are very interesting. It's kind of all over the place. It feels dissonant, but I don't hear any outright chord progression saying it's dissonant. It's very riff-oriented. A little bit of atonal chromaticism going down. This kind of thing here, the theme, but it starts off with, I want to say, a riff that opposes that bass line back there. Kind of a thumpy bass line. Let me just start it right back over. Drink, drink, drink. Try to tell if that's an F sharp or an F. It's tough to... Drink, drink, drink. F. So it's outlining like this G7 thing, and I can't quite tell if the guitar is, again, it sounds like it's a derivative of the part, but it really feels like to me maybe they're just playing two different parts. Might be even chromatic. Let me listen a bit more. Here's that chromatic part. Okay. Now they slow it down. I think it's actually doing a chromatic note on the top there. I don't think it goes up to the G. That sounds too happy. This sounds a bit more menacing. That half step. Not to get too in the weeds on that, it's kind of muffled back there. Like the fundamental pitch isn't popping out as much as like the wolfiness of the bass, the attack and such. The guitar is kind of fighting with it. It's an endearing production. But I get the feeling that this chromatic dissension, it feels soundtrackish in the sense that it's talking about maybe the demise of a decision or an action, drinking and driving. You know, chromaticism going downward always has that motion in it, just emotively, I suppose. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah. And then this little pre-chorus part, G, F, B flat, C. So it leads me to believe it's all in G minor, except the chromatic bits. Nope. Those notes are so sneaky, I can't really guess on any sort of pattern. And I get comments all the time, how are we able to pick up riffs quickly? Well, you make a lot of guesses. And, you know, whether you have perfect pitch or absolute pitch or relative pitch, it doesn't really matter. Once you find the key something is in, all of the data is really filled in already. So if somebody says, hey, the song's in G minor, well, I can eliminate 5 of the 12 notes and just go off of these 7. And usually for most songs, I can, you know, chord progressions are usually 1, then there's the 5. The 5 chord happens a lot, the 4 chord, so I can automatically know that. So, you know, it's deductive reasoning, but on a song like this, they're going out of key for these riffs. They're really not married to any sort of tonality. It kind of throws that whole trick out the window, so it becomes really difficult. I can't make those assumptions. It's almost like where they go is just following the intensity of the lyrical messaging. If we're going to say a certain phrase and just jump to a tritone in some other key, it has that sort of spontaneity about it musically. Whether that's intentional or not, I don't know. But it makes it hard to really pick up the riffs, because right now we're going, and I don't know if it's, or I can't figure out those 3 notes on top. Normally I would be able to guess them in the key of G minor, but you know, it's in here somewhere. So it makes these types of songs fun to analyze in that way. I think I finally got it. Okay, yeah, something like that. One more time, just back on that riff. That sounds right. I think that's it. Missing some of those notes too. Ooh, guitar solo here. Don't want to talk over that. Where'd that start? Cool. Okay, this is the era with Henry Rollins in it, and when I announced I was doing this song over on Patreon, a lot of people were saying I prefer the era before Henry Rollins. I don't have any context on what the difference is, but I know the name Henry Rollins, and I've heard that name here and there. Didn't know he was a part of Black Flag. So, you hear these names with no context out in the wild or read about them. So this is Henry Rollins, and the vocals are almost mixed in a way where they're not really meant to be so up front. It's very much that background thing where you got to really tune everything out to hear phonetically what's being said. I know it's a song about drinking, driving, the demise of it, I suppose. Can't be a good thing, right? So I can't really make out the lyrics, but I'm just kind of feeling the music and the riffs. Again, soundtracking behind it with these no real resolve, no pretty resolve. Maybe in the pre-chorus, sounds a bit more straightforward, but this whole thing is really marred by that chromatic riff. So it kind of shatters the tonality of it. And one thing I did read about Kira is that she mostly played a Rickenbacker. Rickenbacker. Okay, I'm going to say it both ways so I don't get slaughtered. It's either Rickenbacker or Rickenbacker. I don't know. What I do know about those basses, not having owned one, I would love to own one for posterity, but I know that they kind of have the sound of all the frequencies you don't want in a bass tone, but it sounds really good in the mix. Lemmy, even McCartney, Geddy Lee and such. But what I do know about them is that they're very mid-heavy, so I might just play around with that idea. Even though her tone sounds soft and kind of subdued here, I don't hear any crunch or grittiness to it. Just real quickly, I'm going to kind of put on some overdrive, very light, just to give it some kind of that fuzziness that you might get from a Rick, and then just really lean into the mids, take out some bass, and kind of maybe play around with this kind of sound. It's not pretty, but that's kind of the Rick charm, isn't it? At least the time I've spent with them, which is very little. Let's maybe play around with something like this. But her tone doesn't even sound like that, so I might even lay back further on the drive. Those inner notes could be anything. I can't tell if it's or if it's even all half steps. Don't know. It's not too important, but just, I love figuring this stuff out. Okay. Now I'm thinking there might be an E flat in there. Is it that weird? Is this bass riff that weird? It very much might be, considering the nature of the other riffs. I could go look it up. That's not fun. Let's keep going. Back to this thing. This is like the main riff now. It's kind of a tricky thing to play. If it's really leaning on that top note, you almost got to really change with fingering. Pinky. And kind of, one fret per finger under this little thing here. It's kind of a tricky little thing to play if that's right. Ooh, ending with the crash. Not a positive ending, of course. It's not a positive topic. So again, the things I like about that song are the same things I would like about Dead Kennedys. That's really what it reminded me of. It's a lot to do with the production, and just the production is endearing in the sense that it's not heavy. There's not a lot of gain on everything, so therefore I can really hear what's going on in the bass, even though I couldn't get some of those inner notes. Point being, they left sonic space for it. But my takeaway on Black Flag, it's not my favorite flavor of what I've heard with punk rock so far. I think the hardcore punk, post-hardcore side of things, it's going to take me a little longer to really gel with, because there's some things musically I'm kind of like getting used to. Maybe it's the vocals, some of the guitar tones, and just the scratchy nature of them. But as I said, they always have such a solid rhythm section. I can always count on the bass and the drums. Like if it's getting too weird or nonsensical for me analyzing it, I'm like, okay, what's the bass and the drums doing? I can really fall back on that anchor. But thank you guys for hanging out with me today. If you'd like to support the channel further, please come find us on Patreon. It's like $3 a month. You can check out all the album analyses I've done. There's an amazing community there full of crazy loyal hardcore punk fans, not hardcore punk fans, but hardcore fans of punk who probably like hardcore punk. Nonetheless, I have bass lessons, music theory lessons. Come hang out with us. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please do that now. Like the video. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one.